A classic matchup, one for the ages in the BCS standings. It's #1 Alabama up against #4 Florida in the SEC championship game. So much on the line. Winner goes to the national title game. Loser most likely settles for a Sugar Bowl berth. I'm Tracy Wolfson. It's time for our SEC championship game preview show presented by GEICO. The undefeated Crimson Tide making its first trip to the SEC title game since 1999. They enter Saturday's game as a top-ranked team in the nation, yet they are currently 10-point underdogs to the Gators. Florida has been playing lights out as of late. Just take a look at their dominating wins and the number of points they have put up since their lone loss to Ole Miss. So much to talk about in this one. Let me bring in CBS's Spencer Tillman, who will be with me down in Atlanta this weekend. And Spencer, I have to start off. The top-ranked team in the nation, 10-point underdogs. How is this possible?
Well, it's definitely possible because of the prolific offense of Florida, Tracy. When you look at them, maybe Oklahoma is better. I don't know. A lot of question out there whether or not they are. But we can tell you this. Ever since about the third quarter of that Arkansas game, Florida has been a totally different offensive unit. Dan Mullen, their offensive coordinator, and Urban Meyer, their head coach, have gotten together to collaborate to put one of the most prolific, diverse, dynamic offenses in all of America. And so the fact that they are a favorite, it doesn't surprise me at all.
Well, Spencer, this one to me is power versus speed. Florida ranks atop the SEC in offense, as you mentioned. Yep. Alabama atop the SEC in defense. So which one prevails?
I don't know, Trace. That's a really tough question, and that's why I'm excited to see it play out. I will say this. Nick Saban is one of the best coaches in all of college football, and some would argue even professional football, despite the short, unsuccessful record and run that he had with Miami there. But when you look at how this guy has been able to come up with time, defensive packages that threaten pro-style offenses, it is impressive. But this, in Florida's offense, is not a traditional pro-style attack. They've got veer concepts interwoven in what they're doing. They're stretching the football field with a dynamic run game, not vertically, but horizontally. And again, how do you defend that? We know that Nick can game plan with the best of them against a conventional offense, but this is anything but a conventional offense he'll see championship Saturday.
Well, on the other side of the ball, you mentioned Nick Saban and the job that him and offensive coordinator McElwain has done with quarterback John Parker Wilson. A tremendous job managing the game, but he's not the playmaker that takes over the game. So which offensive players need to step up for Alabama to put up enough points to stay with Florida?
Great question. Same cast of characters, Mark Ingram and Glenn Coffey, the running backs. Those two set the table. As you said, the quarterback, John Parker Wilson, they don't ask a great deal of him in terms of deciding the outcomes of games, but he will have more than enough opportunities. And then Julio Jones, the complimentary part at wide receiver, will be on the receiving end of that. I will tell you this, Tracy. This game, he's coming in as John Parker Wilson with a tremendous amount of confidence. He owns pretty much every significant passing record in Alabama history. But his legacy would not be complete until he at least beat Auburn one time. Well, he's done that. Check that box. Now it's time for him to move on and take that confidence into this ball game. I think you will see a confident quarterback, and if his running backs do their job, I think you're going to see a game for the ages at that position.
I have a question. Does Florida have an answer for that mammoth nose tackle, Terrence Cody, 365 pounds?
Well, that's another great question. They better have an answer for him because Trace, I think you've tapped into what's going to be the key to the game. We talked about the horizontal running game of Florida. Well, the way that you disrupt that is get penetration because as that receiver or slot guy comes across that formation, if you get 3 or 4 yards back into that backfield, he's going to have to redirect his path as he releases. That's going to be a major issue. It disrupts timing. So they're going to have to find a way to contend to that. I will say this from Alabama's standpoint, that big nose tackle, he may not be as mobile as he was prior to his knee injury, but he eats up a lot of bodies. And when you can do that, that's when you start to even out things in terms of matchups because the way that Florida has been able to dominate teams, they spread you out and they just simply mismatch you. But if you can take 2 for 1, I like that matchup anytime. That makes it that much more uneven contest, Trace.
And obviously a thing to keep an eye on is Percy Harvin's health. It looks as though he will probably try and play. He's listed as questionable, but we know Percy Harvin. Give me a prediction on this one. I know you're going to be down there, so I don't know if you want to stay away from a prediction. You might get pelted a few times from some fans, but what are you thinking? Florida or Alabama?
Well, I think I think my relationship with Nick Saban is strong enough where I can say this and he not take it the wrong way. I think unless they score at least 10 points in the first quarter, which is not their way, if they can do that and jump out to an early lead against Florida, they will keep it close down the stretch. Outside of that, Florida win this one by at least 9 points.
All right, Spencer, thank you so much. You can watch this game on SEC Live on CBSSports.com, also on CBS, 4 o'clock Eastern Time. Have a great day. I'm Tracy Wolfson for Spencer Tillman. We'll see you soon.